Today I want to talk about the song Imagine by John Lennon. Many of you probably are aware that at the Olympics opening ceremony, you have all these countries from all around the world that are coming in together, and the climax of this opening ceremony was Imagine by John Lennon, sung like a unifying anthem for the world, really. I mean, the Olympic Games is one of the few times that people from all across the entire globe are tuned into the same thing. And this is the song that was played. This is the song that was sung. This was the pinnacle of a pursuit of unity. And so I want to dissect the lyrics of this song, and I want to show just how foolish it is to imagine that this song is worth anything. This is a terrible, terrible song. And we as Christians should be absolutely horrified that this is the kind of music, this is the kind of lyricism that is being perpetuated into the blood, into the DNA of our societies. This is the worldview of the secularists. This song encapsulates the agenda that is being pushed. And that agenda goes straight back to the Nietzschean expression, God is dead. And if we say God is dead, then we are reduced to this kind of John Lennon theology. So let's just start with the opening lyrics. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us, only sky. Now think about those lyrics for a moment. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. Is it easy? Is it really easy to imagine there's no heaven? Because when we say that there is no heaven, obviously John Lennon is suggesting the idea that there is no deity. There is no deity. There is no God who created the universe. There is no God that ordered things. There's just us living on this barren wasteland of a planet, dwindling away as nature sees fit in its random, unguided processes. This song is incredibly bleak. You can't try to imagine that there's no heaven, because if there's no heaven, there is no us. The idea that somebody would propose that humanity can exist without deity really is an unheard of worldview. I mean, even if we go back to the very pagan nations of Rome, of Greece, of Assyria, these pagan nations still worshipped deity. They still believed that there was something beyond them of supreme power. But what John Lennon's proposing is something very, very different. Something that John Lennon's proposing is that there is no God past mankind. Sounds very, very similar to the lie in the garden, that by eating of the fruit, they would be like God, able to discern good and evil. And here's John Lennon trying to propose to us his definition of a good world, apart from the author of good. Imagine all the people living for today. Listen to this next one. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. I find it ironic that they sang Imagine there's no countries after we celebrated all the countries coming in for the Olympics, but that's beside the point. Nothing to kill or die for. Imagine not dying for anything, or not being willing to, not needing to. Imagine life having such little value that there is nothing to die for. If there's nothing to kill or die for, then Jesus Christ himself didn't die for us. Again, John Lennon is proposing a very, very scary reality. A reality of ambiguity and subjectivity where there is nothing, there is no truth to stand on. Truth is worth defending. But if there's no heaven, if there's no hell, if there's only sky above us, if there's no countries, if there's no truth, no objectivity, then there is nothing to die for. You just are. You're just chemicals in a vat, bubbling over, doing what chemicals do. And the funniest thing about this song is John Lennon, in his Theology, is erasing all ability to come up with a moral code. No heaven, no hell, no countries, no religion, no morality. That's what he's saying. And yet, he has a morality that's being pushed through this song. Imagine all the people living life in peace. If we go on, I hope someday you'll join us and the world will live as one. So he has an idea of unity and oneness, and he has this idea of people living life in peace. Now, John, by what standard? By what standard are you asking for peace and unity? You see, you, John Lennon, just got rid of the foundation for all the things that you are arrogantly proposing in your song. If there's no religion, if there's no heaven, if there's no hell, if there's no absolute truth, then there's no such thing as peace. Peace might mean war, and war might mean peace. How do we know? There's no heaven, there's no hell, there's no religion, there's no standard. Friends, this song is at the forefront of the secular worldview right now. And they're trying to push this as though this is some uniting song that'll bring the world together, that'll bring us all together as one in peace and unity as Lennon proposes. But the worldview that is fueling this song is a Nietzschean God is dead worldview. And the only place that worldview has ever ended up is in chaos and death. Why? Because if there's no moral law giver, there is no moral law. And so you cannot expect peace when you've thrown out the arbitrator of that peace that you want. You cannot have peace when you have thrown out the one that gives you the standards of right and wrong. If you throw out God, you are left to your own subjective and totally depraved human whims. We should be terrified when we watch the Olympic Games and see this song being sung by the nations. We should be terrified at the repercussions of this chaotic and random and meaningless worldview. This is not just an attack on the morality of Christians or the Christian faith in terms of structure. This is an attack on the very image of God. What does it mean to be a human? To be a human is to be an image bearer of God, to reflect back to Him His goodness, His mercy, His love. But if you say there's no heaven, you say there's no hell, you say there's no religion, that there's only sky above us, that everything is meaningless, then you have diminished yourself to absolute nothing. You have no more worth than the rocks on the ground, than the sand on the seashore. And so why should we expect humanity to love and treat each other with respect? Why should we imagine a humanity that actually cares about the dignity of human life? Abortion is fine. The Holocaust is fine. Serial killings are fine. Rape, murder, assault, all these horrific things are fine. Because if you get rid of the standard, you have no ability, nothing to stand on, nothing to say what is right or wrong. And I am sick and tired of people spewing this out, calling for unity, calling for peace, while spitting in the face of the one who determines what that is. We are not God. You are not God. I am not God. There is one God, and we are to submit to him. We are not to submit to the religion of mankind, the anthropomorphic idea that we can crown ourselves God. We cannot submit to that. There is no king but Jesus Christ. Caesar is not king. You are not king. I am not king. Humanity is creature. God is creator. And when we try to usurp his authority, it only leads to death. And unfortunately, God will hand us over to a depraved mind when we trade his goodness and his mercy and his love and his offer of salvation for a lie. And what John Lennon is selling in this song, no doubt under the influence of evil, what he's promoting in this song is a worldview that trades the truth for a lie. You can't read this song and not come away going, this is a very depressing worldview. And the scariest part is people are singing this with smiles on their faces because the human heart does not want to submit to the ways of God. Indeed, it cannot. The human heart delights in seeking out peace and unity without God. So we as Christians, we need to stand vigilant, and we need to stand against this theology and point people to the truth and pray that the grace of God will have mercy on our nation, on our world. Because right now we're spiraling into a time that is likely going to become very difficult. Stand firm in your faith, brothers and sisters, and call it what it is, a pile of damning crap. I pray the Lord will have mercy on those who are spitting in his face, calling for peace while calling for the death of God.